Good morning. Hello. Welcome to Radiant Resilience Unplugged. I am your host, Claire Bird, and I'm a mindset and holistic wellbeing coach for women in their 40s. And it is an incredible time in our generation. I'm here to guide and mentor so many women exactly like you who are feeling frustrated, who may be feeling stuck, who feel like they've got no voice. I'm here to help you. So welcome, everybody. We're up to episode 2, and today we're going to be talking about rediscovering your radiance and embracing change. In a previous life, I know a lot about change, and boy, has my life changed so much in the last 5 years, 2 years, 18 months, 2 days. We are honestly dealing with change in so many different ways. And I'm welcoming you today to listen to the podcast and really see what we're going to do about change and how can you embrace change in your life. Change is inevitable, ladies. Change is always something that is going to be around. It is never going to be different. It is just, how do we respond to change? How do we adapt to change? And how do we embrace change so that we remain radiant and we remain resilient and we become the real beacon for our children, for our ripple effect, for our partners in our careers and relationships? So welcome. I have loved all the comments on this podcast so far, and I really hope you're enjoying the new step away from the Awakened Woman, which is now Radiant Resilience. So when we discover radiance, what does that mean? How do you, as a woman in your 40s, discovering the next decade of your life, how do you want to embrace change? What does radiance mean to you? Who do you become? Who do you embody? What does it mean? What does it mean you'll be able to say? What does it mean you'll be able to feel? What does it mean for you to feel radiant every day? What are you allowing yourself to be, do, say, think, feel, hear, and believe? You must be able to give yourself permission to believe, which is something that's really gone by the wayside, and it loses more of a momentum as we get older, right? When we're kids and we're little, we believe in everything. We have no world experience, and we walk into a life where everything is set for us. We are living in a complete naive bubble. Then we go through our teens and we start to understand what's going on. 20s, we start working and we start figuring out our own independence. And perhaps we also start rebelling, because depending on what our upbringing was, what we believe our upbringing was versus what we feel we have to start earning money, we start making friends, we start meeting partners, we start having fun. There's a lot of freedom that comes out, fluidity that comes. And then our 30s is when we start to really narrow down, okay, who am I going to be? What do I want to do? We enter into families, into long-term relationships, into housing, whether we're buying or renting. And then our 40s comes along and we go, holy crap, how did I get here? I'm 41. I've got kids that are going into high school next year. I've got my own business. We have another business. I have a 20-year corporate career. What do I want to be? Am I a mum, or am I a wife? Am I a chief housing officer? Am I the entertainment officer? Am I the bank for the home? Who am I outside of being a wife and a mother and a worker? And that is something that always gets put by the wayside, because as women, I believe, this may not be true, but I believe we are not taught how to balance our roles that we are. We are taught, or we were always given the notion that you get a good education, you go to school, get a good education that gets you a job that pays you well so that you pay your bills, and that's it. You raise your family, you get married, and happily ever after. But sometimes for some of us, and that's cool if that's you, but for some of us like me, there had to be more. There had to be more than going to work, getting a job, earning money, paying bills, raising a family. And it's been a little niggle that's probably honestly been there my whole life. And I've not probably embraced that change until the last sort of 6 months, 2 years. Rediscovering your radiance means finding what makes you tick. Find your own spark, where you feel mundane, where you feel it's Groundhog Day every day, where you feel like you are drowning in washing and it's Wednesday and you don't understand how there can be 3 more piles of washing leading up, when how many socks have gone missing. There's cricket shoes in the background. What's for dinner? Where are we at? There's got to be more than the mundane. It's got to be more than waking up to an alarm every day, going through, getting dressed, going to work, coming home, after school activities, dinner, and collapsing at 8 o'clock. and then realizing you still need to have a romantic relationship as well. And how does that all fit in with 8 hours of sleep and drinking your water and eating right and moving your body and the kids okay? There had to be more than that. And because of all those pressures, because of all the traditional gender roles we as women in our generation face, we actually put ourselves last continually, because we've never been taught that the woman is the most important, or one of the most important people, but she's the most important person in her life. And then if that person, and if she does not make herself a priority, if she does not continue to put herself above everyone else, then nothing else works. And I think it's not in an arrogance, and it's not in an entitlement. It's really from a place of self-love and self-care, that this is how my life is. I value myself enough to take care of myself, to make myself a priority, to go to bed early, to let others help me, to let shit slide, to not have to control every single minute of every single day. I give myself permission to drop the mask of perfection. I really do. That's the ultimate of self-love, self-care. It's not bubble bars and masking and having a hot coffee and sitting in fluffy pajamas. That's amazing. But that's not going to resolve the triggers. That's not going to move you past your stories. That's not going to create a new legacy. Okay. It's only going to soothe whatever you're trying to keep pushing down, because it's what you do. It's your story. It's your game plans. Fluffy socks and pajamas are your game plan. It helps you avoid going into the triggers. It helps you avoid having the hard conversations. It helps you avoid sitting on the couch with your partner and actually having a chat about what you both want. And is it both of what you want? And if it is, then how do we continue to make it? Because it's always about keep going, keep growing, keep feeding that fire. How do we grow? How do we deal with change? And then for us women, well, you add hormone changes in front of that, and it is a whole new ball game, because my hormone changes are completely different to yours, and yours will be completely different to the next person. And it's really difficult, because we all say that we go through midlife and we are tired and low energy and we're gaining extra weight and our joints are sore and all these things, but it's in different factors for everybody. So the task of rediscovering your radiance is really personal, and it should be a priority for you every single day. You should be giving yourself permission to discover your radiance every single day. It should be a habit of yours. Okay. So there are lots of different habits, and inside the Radiant Woman membership, we talk a lot about habits, especially in terms of holistic well-being. You cannot just take a magic pill and magic everything goes. You might be able to feel a bit better, but you're not dealing with the triggers. You're not dealing with the stories. You're not dealing with your patterns, your activities, the way you are, the way you speak, the way you expect, the way you love. None of that's going to be resolved with a magic pill. All of that gets resolved by having conversations, being vulnerable, learning about yourself, allowing yourself to listen. And that is what the Radiant Woman membership is. It is a membership circle for women in their 40s specifically. And it's a place where we come in and we learn about holistically what we want as women. What are our stories holding us back? What does our career look like? How are our relationships? How do we deal with change? Changes in our relationships, our parenting style, our workplace, ourselves, our bodies. And I've got some great people that come in and offer different bits and pieces of advice too. So what it is to embrace change in your 40s is to really look at what is your driving force. What are you holding on to in terms of resistance and change that is holding you back from living a free life, free from thoughts, free from judgment of others, free in all sorts of different ways, free to be you, so that you can stop pretending to be perfect? Because I feel that the mask of perfection is such a heavy mask to wear. Am I right? Let me know in a message, in a comment, in a thought, in a quote, in whatever you want. Let me know. The mask of perfection that we carry as working women is so incredibly heavy that we can, instead of saying, you know what, I don't want to be perfect anymore, I'm going to let it slide, I'm going to move on, I'm going to deal with change, I'm going to make the change and say I'm okay being imperfect. That's too heavy that's too easy to say for us, because we feel so much judgment. We continue to carry the mask because that's what we think we need to do. That's what we think people are going to love us for. People think We think people need us to be perfect, to be a Stepford wife, to have a clean home. As you can see in the background, and if you're watching this on the shorts in the podcast listening, there is a random cricket shoe in my left corner. There's dishes in the sink I still haven't done. There is crap everywhere, and I'm okay with it. Because I've told my family, you can either have me as a perfect housewife and everything is impeccable, and I will not be present with you, because it cannot be two things. I cannot run this household at absolute perfection and still be there to comfort you, to support you, to be with you, to sit with you, to laugh with you, to joke with you, to just eat crap on the couch with you. It doesn't work. If you want that perfect mum, you can't have the other side, because I'm going to run myself into the ground sleeping 2 hours a night trying to achieve something that has no benefit on me. I don't care that my house is a little bit scrubby, that there's a speck of dust on the floor, that I'll probably need to walk my floors this week or today. I don't care. I care that my kids sit around the dinner table with me and we talk about our day. I care that I get to go to cricket training tonight with my boys. I care I get to see my girlfriends at school. I care I get to do this as a job. I care that I inspire you. You don't care that my floor is impeccably clean. You don't care that I run a machine household. Okay. You don't care if I've got a house full of helpers that help me run my house. You care about what you listen to. Okay. That is where you need to start dropping the mask of perfection. Stop pretending to the outside world that everything is perfect and hunky-dory, and inside it is chaos. You are causing a massive out of alignment process for you, where you are trying to be someone your soul physically cannot be. And you're constantly at war with yourself every day, trying to be someone you really don't care for. You really don't care for being perfect. You don't really care. You really want to be loved and tended to, cared for. So how do you embrace that change? It can be really difficult depending on how you've been brought up and about what you've learned about yourself. If you've grown up in an environment where house proudness is the priority, and there's nothing wrong with that, then change is going to be a lot difficult for you. But start by having a conversation with your partner. Start with having a conversation with your family. Start with having a conversation with yourself. Get a journal out and write, why am I so unhappy? I am so unhappy being perfect because it makes me feel what? Being perfect makes me feel what? And don't be surprised by the negative notes that you start writing that you don't realize you're holding on to, because the perfection is actually causing you grief, not compassion. Okay, so you need to start doing that. You need to start loving yourself. You need to embrace the change. You are going to always have to change. You are never going to be the way you were in your 20s. You are never going to be the way that you were in your 30s. Okay, and if that's something you're striving for and you've achieved, congratulations. It's not something I've achieved, and I don't know that I will. But I'm looking back at my body and looking at lovingly and looking in the mirror saying, look at what you've achieved. 3 pregnancies, 2 babies, 2 kids, operations, sports injuries, inflammation that I've inherited. And I'm still here. And I'm okay with looking how I look. And I'm comfortable looking how I look. Because perfection, in terms of comparison to Instagram, doesn't matter to me, because that doesn't represent who I am. And I'm okay with that. So start looking in the mirror and appreciating the work your body's done for you. If it's starting to break down, then we need to start looking holistically at why. Inside the Radiant Woman, we have cellular repair modalities, which I'm beyond excited to bring forward to you. And it's only available in the Radiant Woman membership. I'm not going to be broadcasting this outside. So all of the members inside and all of the beautiful ladies will get access to learning how to repair cells via meditations and hypnosis. It's going to be amazing. Okay, head over to clareburt.com.au/Radiant Woman to learn how you can be a part of the program and get access to this real level of detail. So be appreciative, love yourself, and have the communication. If you're still struggling and you've got the brain fog and you're just not feeling right, please go seek medical help. Don't look to Google to find these answers. Go get tests done. When was the last time you had an oil, a full service, so to speak, at the doctors? Go get checked by your GP and ask them, what are your options? What do the results look like? What can you change to natural products? What can you perhaps make yourself? What can you do to save some money, to take some pressure off, to look at stress levels? Okay. Change the narrative. Yes, it's crappy. It can feel bad sometimes, and some days it feels heavy, and some days it feels really difficult. Dealing with perimenopause, dealing with kids, being a working mum, having washing on and not knowing where to go. You're only one person with two arms, not an octopus with eight. Yes, it can be hard, or that can be your mentality, or let's see what today's going to throw at me. I've survived everything up until now. I've created a life up until now. What else could happen that is going to derail my thought process? And it's the mental resilience you need to keep building. Life is always going to throw challenges at you, ladies. Life is always going to throw something at you that is going to make you go, oh, I give up. Or you can go, okay, I learned myself. I learned a little bit more. Okay. Perfection doesn't mean you've overcome everything. Often, perfection means you're pushing stuff down and not addressing what you need to address. You need to set those boundaries. You need to have those conversations. You need to set yourself free. Stop putting it down. Stop thinking you're not good enough. Stop thinking you're not worthy enough. Stop pushing what you feel down in fear of upsetting others because you're doing a detriment to you. Okay, stop silencing yourself for the benefit of others. Have the conversation eloquently, directly. Learn. Inside the Radiant Woman, we have conversation starters. We have narrative stories. We have journals. We have questions. We have all the resources you need to have that hard conversation, whether it's at work, in your relationship, with your kids, with a friend. Maybe your friendship circles are changing and you don't know why. Start having conversations, because unless you ask, you don't know. And you're only going to be told yes or no. And if you start the question and get the ball rolling, then it puts it out there. You're dealing with the change and you're going to roll with whatever comes back. Okay. So that is how you start to discover your radiance. Your radiance begins with you. So as a recap, your radiance begins with you. Your radiance starts as a home-based project and you are the home base. How do you feel? What do you want to release? What do you want to let go of? What does your ideal life look like? What are you doing? Find 5 habits a day. Exercise, sunshine, water, air, okay, and writing or reading or listening to a podcast, good noise. They're 5 habits that you can do all in one go. All right, that's what you're going to do. Change the habits, change the stories, get into your life, start doing things that feel good to you. Make yourself a priority. Okay, give yourself permission to give yourself 10 minutes a day. You can find 10 minutes a day. Promise you, you can. The busiest person in the world can find 10 minutes a day, and you don't need to get up any earlier to do it. Okay, just look at your structures. What are you doing that you don't need to do, that you can ask for help for, that will free up 10 minutes of your day? Okay, ask for help. When you start asking for help and you stop being perfect in everything, life changes for the better. You get to embrace imperfections. You laugh. Okay. And find out what works. What worked for me in the last 12 months since I've turned 40 and I've been dealing with perimenopause symptoms is that my exercise has changed. I used to be able to do high impact. I used to be able to do lots of cardio. Now it's Pilates because my body and my inflammation can't deal with the joint jumping anymore. I used to play a lot of sport. I don't anymore. So it's Pilates. It's strength training, ladies. We need to look at some sort of strength training to increase our bone density. Okay. Ward off osteoporosis. Okay. What are my dietary requirements? Where have they changed? What am I eating? What can I eat better of? Drinking more water. Okay. Bone broth. Lots of different things. We discuss a lot of this in this podcast, and we're also going to discuss it much more in depth in the Radiant Woman membership, because there are nutrition recipes in there that I've used, that I share with my community, that have worked for me, that have helped reduce inflammation, so that you can have a couple of bad days a week and wake up feeling not too bad in your joints and pains. Because nothing worse than waking up like a glow stick every day full of inflammation. And then knowing what your sleep changes are. What are you supplementing with? Go see your GP, get proper, or go see a herbalist, a nutritionist, or whoever you need to see. Go and get proper supplements, not just from what Facebook have told you. Go and see a GP, get checked out, and make sure that you're treating the right areas, because that's what's worked for me in the last 6 months. That's what's brought my anxiety down a little bit. It's what makes me sit in my seat of reflection a lot more, and it helps me balance my hormones, my emotions, my workloads. On the days where I'm feeling a lot more tired than usual, I will do more work. On the days where I feel good, I will do less. Sounds interesting, but that is something that my GP mentioned to me as well. So Rediscovering Your Radiance is a home-based project. Start today by doing it little by little by little. Join the Radiant Woman membership and learn how you can build your own home-based project and what your home-based project looks like. There's a step-by-step plan in there for you, and I cannot wait for you to see it. Okay, it's not difficult. It just breaks it all down into so much more of a much more manageable system. So thank you for listening. I would love for you to tag me in your socials at _inspired_lifestyles and let me know what you thought of this podcast. If you are not on my email subscribe list, please head over to clareburt.com.au and shoot me a message there, and I'll make sure you're in on all my weekly emails, my Radiance emails, and you get to see some snippets of what my ladies inside the circle of the Radiant Women are working on, exploding into the atmosphere and really living their best lives. So thanks for watching. I cannot wait to see you again, and I look forward to popping into you in the next episode.